Gemini 3 is finally here. Today we're going to watch the launch video for Gemini 3. We're going to look at the model cards just to understand more about the benchmark. I'm going to break it down and try to explain it as simple as possible because I feel like a lot of people show the benchmarks, but they don't really actually explain exactly what each of the benchmarks mean. But let's just watch the launch video now.
Gemini has been multimodal since the beginning. Our Gemini 1 models could see, hear, understand vast amounts of information, and natively generate across modalities. Gemini 2 took the next step with advanced reasoning, enabling AI agents to think, code, and take action. We're taking all of this to the next level with Gemini 3. Gemini 3 is the strongest model in the world for multimodality and reasoning. It's our most intelligent...
It's interesting. It seems like they are focusing on the multimodal element of it. Multimodal basically means that it can allow different inputs, not just text. So it allows videos, images, maybe audio, and more.
Model that helps you bring any idea to life. Starting today, we're rolling out Gemini 3 in our products so you can experience it for yourself. In Google Search, Gemini 3 enables new kinds of generative user interfaces. It codes interactive simulations like this one, custom built for your search.
That's cool.
In the Gemini app, you can use the vast range of Gemini 3 capabilities for all kinds of tasks. You could supercharge how you learn, create, plan, take action.
Wow, Google went deep on this one. They've literally pulled everything out of the bag.
Analyze complex videos, and more.
Ooh, you exhibit a steady baseline playing style characterized by consistent ground stroke. That is pretty cool. Does that mean I can just upload a video of me doing jiu-jitsu in there or salsa and it tells me what I'm doing wrong and how I can improve? I'm skeptical, but if it can do that, that would be pretty sick.
You could start building with Gemini 3 Pro, available in the API today. We're even introducing a new platform, Google Anti-Gravity. It's our vision of software development at the frontier of model intelligence. It lets you use Gemini 3's agentic coding capabilities to accelerate how you build. The rollout of our Gemini 3 series will continue in coming weeks. We'll be introducing models with new features across different modalities and more model sizes. This is just the beginning of our Gemini 3 series. It's another critical step on the road towards making AI more intelligent and personal for you. Learn more about how you can try Gemini 3 at deepmind.google/Gemini.
Okay, let's look at the model card. So, the model card is basically something that machine learning teams basically release to give you more information about the model, the benchmarks, the inputs, whether it's multimodal or not. So this is the model card for Gemini 3. So the first thing you can see is that it's not dependent on any model. So it's not just the fine tune of Gemini 2. The inputs, text, image, audio, video files, with a token window of up to 1 million. That is insane. But I find every time I reach or I upload anything close to this million token in the old Gemini versions, it was just basically talking crap after a while. But yeah, this is basically what makes it multimodal because it's not just allowing text strings, it's allowing all these other inputs as well. The outputs is text only with a 64K token output. This is the architecture, we don't have to worry about that. This is the training data. It's just basically telling you that they basically scoured the internet and just read everything. And they respected the robot.txt files on websites. I don't believe they did. I still feel like they train on things that they're not meant to train on, but how else? Okay, what else? The hardware. So it was trained using Google's Tensor processing unit, the TPUs. Essentially, they did not use NVIDIA. It's specifically designed to handle the massive computations involved in training LLMs and can speed up training considerably compared to CPUs. Cool. What else do we have here? Where it's going to be distributed. We have anti-gravity, AI mode, APIs for other developers to use, AI Studio, which is also, I guess developers use this, but anyone can really use this to just test Google products. It's on Google Cloud and it's also on the Gemini app, obviously. And this is the benchmark. So let's dive deep into this benchmark and just look at some of the areas where Gemini 3 is really excelling. So the first benchmark that we should focus on is Humanity's Last Exam. So Humanity's Last Exam, if I remember correctly, was created by Scale AI. And what they did is they basically brought together experts in different fields such as maths, computer science, biology, chemistry. And they essentially got all these experts, I'm talking experts, like you had to minimal have a PhD to be one of them, to submit really, really difficult questions. And it was like up to 60,000 or 90,000 questions they submitted. And what they did is they essentially gave those questions to models that existed at the time, because this was a few years ago, 2 years ago, I'm not exactly sure. They gave those questions to models, and if a model could answer that question right, that was not included in Humanity's Last Exam. So they basically did this filtering process and eventually ended up with a few hundred questions that are super hard for the models to answer and super hard for humans to answer. So if we go on Humanity's Last Exam, I believe on their website they have examples of those questions and some of them are literally insane. And these are not things you can Google. Like Googling won't help you out with this. You have to read papers to be able to even answer any of this. So hummingbirds within apodiforms uniquely have a bilateral paired oval bones, a sesamoid embedded in the quadrilateral portion of the expanded cruciate upon of insertion of M. I can't even say some of this word. How many paired tendons are supported by this sesamoid bone? Answer with a number. Yeah, so this is an example of question, and I think what was it, Edward, that submitted it. So essentially there's a training set that model makers can use to test their model as they're building it, but they also have a private set where the team basically reserves some of these questions themselves, because the problem is you don't want to release the private set out in the world, right? Because then the model makers would just put those questions and the answers into the model training, and the model is essentially going to cheat. So what they do is they basically test each of these models with the private data, and then they tell you the percentage of the questions they got right. So you can see GPT 5.1 got 26.5% correct, which was the highest before Gemini 3. Claude got 13.7, which is not great, but I guess Claude is really good for coding, not really answering questions like this. Gemini 2.5, the previous one, got 21.6, and now Gemini has 37%. And with code and execution and tools, they have 45%, which is insane. It's more than a 10% jump, which is like crazy. It means essentially you can ask PhD level questions to Gemini and it's going to be a lot better at answering than GPT 5.1. Arc AGI 2, again, is very similar to Humanity's Last Exam, except this is for images. It's actually like visual puzzles. So I can show you an example of what one of the puzzles looks like. If I go on images, maybe I'll be able to see it. Yeah, so the puzzles basically look like this. They show you a set of two images. So they say this is mapped to this gets turned to this. What would this get turned to? And then the model's job is to basically try to find a pattern here and then use that to come up with this image. So again, this is something that only multimodal LLMs can do. And again, this has increased by more than, that is a massive increase. GPT 5.1 was 17 and it's 31.1%, meaning that you can give it images and ask it difficult things about that images and it can find patterns in this image. The next thing, these are like maths puzzles and so on. The next thing I find interesting is the ScreenSpot Pro. What this test is basically you give a model a UI and you give it tasks to perform for that UI. So for example, you can give it Premiere Pro and say your task is to cut this at 4 seconds. And you can see this is actually one of the things that is most impressive. And I feel like not a lot of people are talking about this because Gemini 3 is 72%. GPT-5 was 3.5, Gemini 2.5 was 11.4. So that's like a crazy increase. And what this is really good for, 3.5, 11, and Claude was actually one of the highest at 36.2. What this means is that these models can now potentially start controlling your screen, start controlling apps. So you can give it a picture and say use Photoshop to edit this, or give it a video and say use Premiere Pro to edit this video. Again, I don't know how this will work in reality or how long it takes and if it's even worth it. And 72% might not be worth it because that remaining 30% roughly might just mean that it's not good enough to actually do anything. So this is pretty cool. Now let's just jump into the coding elements of it. So we have the terminal bench. Terminal bench is basically how good is it at writing terminal commands. So it's just, they have a list of questions they have a list of tasks. So for example, find this file in this directory. And the job of the models is basically to come up with the terminal command that will be used to execute that. And again, Gemini 3 is 54%, GPT-5 was 47%. So not a massive increase, but still pretty big. Claude was 42.8. You can see Claude starts getting better when it becomes to coding related things. This is why most of us programmers still use Claude. The last Gemini was at 32. SWE bench verified. This is, I guess, one of the most important benchmark for me because I mainly use LLM to code. Claude is still winning here. And what this is basically they have a bunch of repositories and they essentially look back at old pull requests that were trying to solve specific bugs in the repo or that were trying to add a new feature, and they basically task the LLM to do the same thing in that pull request, and they compare it to the results to see how well it was at doing that. And as you can see, Claude still wins there, meaning that Claude is still probably the best thing to use to code today. Yeah, so that's basically the model card. And all this basically just shows me that I should be using Gemini 3 if I have like any random questions instead of using GPT. And for coding, I should still be using Claude Sonnet 4.5.